SOROPTIMIST International Mental Health Week from the 13th to the 19th of May, entitled Think on It. Today, our workshop entitled Think on It, Body Image, Positive Vibes, allow us to focus on how we see ourselves and how that makes us feel. You may ask, who are SOROPTIMISts? SOROPTIMIST International is a global volunteer movement working together to transform the lives of women and girls with nearly 80,000 members in 124 countries. SIGB, SOROPTIMIST International of Great Britain and Ireland, the sector that we in Trinidad and Tobago belongs to, has 8,000 members in 350 clubs in 28 countries, and these include Great Britain and Ireland, Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and Malta. We all work at local, as we are here today, national and international level to educate, empower, and enable opportunities for women and girls like you. Why think on it body image? We know that many of you may have suffered in some form or the other about your image, or sometimes you've been criticized, sometimes you've been taunted at, and it has affected you. We have cyberbullying in schools now, and this affects your mental health in the form sometimes anxiety and depression. We hope that this session you will be further educated about your body, that it is precious, and you would like it and accept it yourself. You should feel empowered, and you would be enabled to better take care of your body. Remember, nobody is perfect. Everybody wants to be liked and accepted just as they are. That's true for everybody too. You must remember that each one of us is unique and has a contribution to make. I hope you have a productive and we have a follow-up to this workshop seminar. I thank you.
All right, so we have completed the necessary formalities and we can now dive into our workshop. So as previously mentioned, we are smack in the middle of Mental Health Awareness Week. SOROPTIMIST have launched a Think on It campaign. So the hashtags that we'll be using throughout, as well as on social media, will be hashtag Think on It. You'll see it in your packages. The other hashtag will be hashtag Be Body Positive. Green is the color that is associated with mental health. So you would have noticed our green theme. Each person would have received a green folder with the materials that you need throughout the program in it. So you have 2 questionnaires which will be filled out when you are prompted to do so. You have your name tag, which I think everybody has on. You have bookmarks, and then everybody would have had their snack. If you realize that you're missing anything, you just raise your hand and I'll get whatever is missing to you throughout the workshop, right? Now, this is part 1 of the project. We have invited everyone here. We're going to have our workshop. And then part 2 is a competition of sorts. So in your package, there is writing paper and a pencil. We'll encourage everyone to take notes. You seeing it? You could take notes. You could ask questions. And when you go back to school, we would want you all now to roll out what you have learned either to your form or to your entire school or to your class with the help of a teacher. And by June 3rd, we will ask that you will send us a 5-minute video or photos and a write-up on what you did when you went to your school in keeping with what you have learned today. There will be a prize for the most outstanding submission. All right, so now let me introduce our presenter for today. She's Miss Wendy Nobby. She's been in clinical practice for the last 32 years, and she's now living her dream of being a training consultant and a motivational speaker here in Trinidad and throughout the Caribbean. So let's welcome Miss Wendy Nobby, our main presenter for today.
Person, all SOROPTIMIST, all members of SOROPTIMIST Club, and our VIP. We say, you ever notice that you have tickets to a party and they have VIP and VVIP? Well, I'll call you all VVIP this morning. Okay, let me introduce myself very quickly. In a measure of time, you are going to see us trying to race because we're starting 40 minutes late, okay, than when we intended to start. So, I'm Wendy Nobby. That's my professional life. My personal life is that I have 3 children and I have 5 grandchildren. And I think grandchildren should have been born before children because they're so sweet. But of course, you know that can't happen. Grandchildren can't be born before children. So for some of you, and I'm proud to be here today, particularly for my second granddaughter who attends naps and she's in Form 2. So I am happy that I'm here working with some members of her class too. So moving along, for some of you who are trying to work out my age, I'll save you the maths. I'm 63 years young. Okay? So we can move on from that. Okay. SOROPTIMISTs have their purpose on mental health, but my colleague and I, who you'll meet in a few minutes because she'll guide us through this first exercise, we are here as women particularly, before we are as professionals, giving to you a different experience from what we had growing up as women, and hoping that it will affect your mental health in a positive way and be able to let go of some of the baggage that we carried as girls and as women today. I think that's basically it. So we'll get right into the first exercise, which is self-awareness, and I'll invite my colleague Listra Mahabir-Mongru to take us through part of this and with you. Listra is a clinical social worker with nearly over 35 years experience all over the world, I have to say, and she's focused. She will help us with mindfulness today. So that's it. That's the introduction. Does this mic work? Okay, so we can walk with this. Okay? It's all, yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Listra Mahabir-Mongru, and I'm here with my colleague Wendy to assist in facilitating this workshop today. So for our icebreaker exercise, we wanted to ask you, everybody has a name tag on, right? So if you could please just turn to someone that you do not know, okay? So someone that you do not know. So if you know the person next to you, just find somebody that you do, just look around for somebody you do not know. Has everybody found somebody that they don't know? Sorry? Yeah. Okay, so maybe you know who they are, but you don't know them really well, right? Okay, and this is what we're doing. So you turn to that person and you acknowledge their name. So hello, whatever your name, what's your name? Hello, Dana, right? You just turn to the person and you just take a good look at them. And now, okay, have you taken a good look at your partner? Right, now just, you have your pencil and paper handy, pencil and paper. So I'd like you now to guess. You are going to write down on your piece of paper, you are going to guess the answers to these questions as it relates to your partner. So, I would like you to first guess. Yes, they said hello. They said hello to their partners. So I'd like you to guess, what is your partner's favorite TV show? Just write one thing down. We're not taking long to do this, eh? Just write one thing down.
What do you think your partner's favorite TV show is? Don't ask them.
No, you're not asking them. You are not discussing it with them. You are just writing it.
Teachers, do not get involved. Thank you.
Okay, second question. What do you think is your partner's favorite subject at school? Favorite subject at school. Just write it down, what you think. Just look at the person and think of what you think their favorite subject is. All right. Third question. What do you think their favorite food is? Their favorite food. What do you think is their favorite food? Come on, just a couple seconds to do this. And then the fourth one, what do you think is a hobby that they enjoy? What do you think is a hobby that they enjoy? Okay. All right, so have you done, everybody has done that for their partner? Everybody has answered the questions? Okay, so now if you can just show your responses to your partner and see how close you are, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. Okay, just compare them. All right, if we can come back to the big group, please. So let's hear from you now, from some of you. How close were you? Did you guess correctly for some? Anybody got one right? Put up your hand. Very good, yeah. Okay, some people got 2 right. Yeah? Anybody got 3? Very good. And anybody got all 4? Yeah. No. Very good. Just put your hands up if you get 4. The ones who got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's quite a few. Okay. All right. Okay, so the purpose of this exercise then to get us going this morning is so that we can remember that when we meet people, you know, and we form impressions of them, right? We begin to guess things about them. Say, you know, she looks like she like da 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 da. I think that person, yeah, they must really enjoy going to. But we don't really know it for a fact. So very often we form impressions of people by looking at them, right? Are these impressions always correct? No, as we saw this morning, there were many of you that didn't get the correct impression, which is okay, right? So that we have to remember that when we make assumptions, we have to remember that, hey, we need to check this out first. We need to be aware of what assumptions we're making about people. And this is a little segue into our topic of today, is to remember that, again, the cliched saying, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover kind of thing, that, you know, you look at somebody and we can't really tell who they are, what they're like, what they're going through, you know, what they're dealing with, by simply looking at them. We really need to get to know people to find out more and to be more aware, right, of individuals as persons and not just giving a blanket description to everybody. Oh, that's that kind of person and this kind of person. No, we're all unique individuals, okay, dealing with our own issues. So thank you very much for doing that exercise, and I hope you got to know somebody that you didn't know before, and Mrs. Nobby is going to take it from here for a little bit.
Thanks. I'm just interested in the persons who got one answer right. Could you put your hands up again? One answer. Could you tell us what answer that was?
English.
Do you know her before?
No.
Okay, and why did you think it was English?
I don't know.
Tell me what entered your brain in your think, when you were thinking on it. Remember your hashtag, I'm not modern, I haven't gotten into modern, is think on it. So when you were thinking on it, what she was like, what made you think that she liked you?
She looked like a shy person.
Oh, okay. All right. So as you say, shy, which is a very important point. Do we know the difference between introvert, extrovert, and shy? Do we often think that introverts are shy? Do we? No? Usually a shy person is a person who thinks that they not necessarily will be accepted outside and people will kind of judge them, so they don't want to go out into and don't want to say much because there's a little fear attached to being judged or to being stereotyped. An introvert person is somebody who doesn't necessarily need a lot of people around to really know themselves or to communicate with people. And an extrovert is okay. Is anyone worse than the other? No. They're all different, and that's what we are celebrating today, our differences and understanding it. So, I want us today to look at why we are the way we are on our self-talk. How many of us, raise your hand if you think if you're not mentally well, you can become physically ill. Could you raise your hand if you believe that? Very good. Teachers, you could raise your hand in this too. Okay? So let me see a show of hands. How many of us think that if we are not mentally well, we can become physically ill? Put your hands up again. Very, very important to understand that connection. We didn't understand it before. Okay? We thought once we're physically well, it doesn't matter. Mental health was a big stigma attached to it. Long ago in my time, they used to say, you see, she crazy or he crazy. You see them Spanish people, they're crazy. Any mix up people, they're mad. And everybody was scared of people that they thought was different. We assessed it as being something is wrong with you. We didn't understand. How many of us think that what happens to us in childhood could affect us in adulthood? Put up your hand. Okay, very good. You all are brighter than we were at your age. Okay, so if I told you, remember we tell you if you put equal amounts of substances on a scale, they will balance? Remember we taught you that? If you put equal amounts of scale, what doesn't balance is this. If I told you 10 negative things today, and I told you 10 positive things today, what do you think you'll remember at the end of the day? Negative. Very, very powerful. So today our motto is zero tolerance for negativity. If you find yourself, girls, wanting to carry bad news, you ever know bad news travel really fast? I remember when my mother died, and some people called me and say, do you want me to tell anyone? I said, no, don't tell anyone. See how fast that news carry. If you find yourself liking to can't wait to tell bad news about another child, watch yourself. You're making yourself ill. Or you can't wait to hear bad news about somebody else. It's good for she, it's good for her, she should get it. That kind of thing, you are making yourself sick. Okay? So if I told you 10 positive things today and I told you one negative thing, what do you think you remember at the end of the day? See how powerful negative is? So the only thing that is balanced, and the only time we hear a lot of positives is when we can't hear it anymore. When do you think that is? You ever went to a funeral and heard any bad things about anybody? When we don't even need, you might have thought of bad things, but have you ever heard in a eulogy a bad thing about somebody who has died? Not really, right? Okay? And that's when we least need it. We need positives while we are alive. And that's when we get it. Oh, I should have tell her I love her. I should have tell him I love him. I made a mistake. And I didn't tell her. When you keep in pain and anger, that's how it affects you. So there is a law attached to emotions, to mental health. You know that, right? And this law is, could somebody pull up the slide for me? Thanks. So, if I have a jar, right? And I keep packing it with stuff. I pack this jar over 2.5 years, 3 years, or however, packing it. Could anything happen? I keep packing it and then I cover it. Could anything happen to that jar if I keep overpacking it? It can explode. In the human body, what is that? If we keep packing ourselves with negatives and carrying that load, what is that? Somebody said a heart attack? Yeah. You could explode, a heart attack, or you could have what we used to call a nervous breakdown, what you call a meltdown. And you all say a meltdown? You all still say that? Okay, I'm trying to get hip. A meltdown. You could have a meltdown. Okay, so if your jar didn't explode and you didn't have a heart attack or a meltdown, could anything be going on inside of you in that jar that can make you sick? Yes? You're looking good, You're looking great on the outside. And people asking you how you're doing. And you're saying, I'm blessed, I'm fine, and lots of stuff is happening. I wouldn't ask you to raise your hand when you're not fine and you say you're fine. Okay, it's very important to understand that what could be going on in your body that you don't know of. If you're looking good outside, you could have high blood pressure, diabetes, you've heard of those diseases, you've heard of cancer, okay? From holding it in. Nobody is getting a prize for being, alright, so I say, what's your first name? Dana, I present you with this prize for being the best vexed person in the world. I hope you don't take it. No, but if you're waiting on that, if you're waiting to be negative and to receive a prize for being who you are, very, very negative and sad and unhappy, then you crap or smoke your pipe. You ever heard that? You ever heard your grandmother tell you crap or smoke your pipe? Well, crap or smoke your pipe, you're not going to get it. Okay? How many of you like to be around people who tell you bad things all the time, who always playing victims and moaning and groaning and don't look happy? How many of you? You don't mind being around? I say, how many of you want to be around anybody like that? Sometimes we don't understand who we are. If I was to stand in front of you, sometimes we have to, remember I asked you about baggage and what happens to you in childhood could affect you in adulthood. Correct? Very, very important to understand that and to get it out. So the law of emotions, and I'll tell you why. The law of emotions states, if you don't deal with emotions now, they will deal with you later. Do we have a marker here? How many of us know what that means? Old people used to have a saying about it. If you don't deal with it now, if you pack it up and you keep it in and you keep it as a secret, most people know your secrets, by the way. While you have skeletons in the closet, a lot of people know it. What are we saying when we are talking about mental health? If you don't deal with emotions now, they will deal with you later. Old people used to say, they have a few sayings about it. What are some of them? What in the dark will come to light? You all ever heard that? That's what they mean by that. Well, people were wise and we didn't understand. Time is longer than twine. What are some of the others saying? What do you think they mean by that? Time is longer than twine. You know what twine is, right? A string. Time is longer than twine. They meant that it will come out eventually. So if you don't deal with emotions now, that means when something happens, I don't mean attack somebody when something happens, but you don't deal with it in the present, you save it up. and it comes out in very negative ways, and it makes you no longer go. We were brought up thinking for our mental health to make us happy. I have a lot of people coming into me, partners coming into me, couples coming into me and say, Mrs. Nobby, I don't know why I marry Hina. He don't make me happy. I don't know why I marry she. She don't make me happy. Another thing, when you walk into my office and you say, I thought I had a perfect marriage. I want you to do away with that word perfect. It's going to make you very unhappy and disappointed. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. We were brought up in the Cinderella syndrome. He will come, my prince will come along, and he'll fall in love with me, and he'll treat me, and we'll get married. Someday my prince will come. You all know that song from Cinderella? Someday I'll find someone. That's not so true. Some people are lucky to do that. Okay? But where was I? I want to see if you all are awake. Before I started to talk about the Cinderella syndrome, what was I talking about? All right. So when they come into me and say, we were brought up depending on somebody else for our happiness. We didn't learn this till later. Maybe Lystra learned it earlier than me. I don't know. But certainly our generation was brought up where we thought we depended on someone else to make us happy. If you depend on anyone else to make you happy, you are going to be up and down like a seesaw. Because when they're happy, you are happy. When they're sad, you are sad. Up and down. Who is responsible for our happiness? Who?
Yourself.
Yourself. We took a long while to know that. And that mental health is important. It's okay to be happy. We were brought up in a generation where we thought we had to make everybody else happy. We had homes where, it didn't occur in my home, thank God, that you put plastic on the chairs for when special people come, they could sit there. Some children weren't even allowed to be in their living room because they'll dirty up everything. And it's a special for special people. So the message we gave to our kids was they were not as special as people outside. We didn't understand in our parents' time. They told us that sticks and stones may break your bones, but words cannot harm you. Because they didn't want us to be violent. And it was a way of coping with negative talk from your peers. Are you with me? So what happened there was that we understood that not to be true. So if I said to this teacher, what's your name? Rosemary? Rosemary? Welcome, Rosemary. Sorry. Where did you get those scratches on your legs? Right? She said, my car remember, she said, maybe I climbed a mango tree or a plum tree when I was younger. And I don't know where they come from. I can't remember, Mrs. Nobby, where they come from. But if Rosemary's mom told her that she was a bum, and or her dad told her that she will amount to no good, and she's stupid, do you think Rosemary will remember that for the rest of her life? You see how powerful words are? But they taught us that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words cannot harm us. Words can harm you. How many of you, and quickly put up your hands, said something nasty to someone in the last week? Put up your hands very quickly. Good. Thank you for being honest. Thank you very much for being honest. Put down your hands. How many of you said sorry to someone that you hurt their feelings recently? Very good. Very important to understand. Okay? So you see what we learned in childhood sometimes, most of the times could affect us very negatively. So don't wait on someone else to make you happy. It's not going to work. Okay, you are in charge of your own happiness, and it's okay to be happy. It's okay. You're not going to fall down or something is going to be wrong with you if you're happy. If I was to stand here and blame, another thing is coming out of childhood in mental health, that you blame If I was to stand here and say, oh God, I'm like this because if my mother didn't divorce and we married and I didn't have this and my mother didn't give me this, and what's happening to me? Do you know anybody who complains all the time? Put your hand up if you know anybody. Put your hand up if, okay, so put your hand up, put your hand down if you know that you complain all the time, if you realize. Okay, put your hand down. So if I was to stand here, would you like to be with me? Would you like to hang out with me? I hope not. I wouldn't even like to hang out with myself. Because what we were taught to be is a victim. You have to remember we come from different cultures to be Trinidadians. And we were taught sometimes to not say what we have or not say if we're happy. We were taught also that after joy is sorrow. So you're so busy looking for the sorrow around the corner, you cannot enjoy the joy. Are you with me? We cannot enjoy the joy because you go ahead, skin your teeth. Be happy. You're going to see what will happen to you afterwards. So you can't even enjoy. You weren't taught that, right? You were? Very important to understand that that may be a very destructive message. You have to forgive your parents because none of us went to parenting school. How many of your parents went to parenting school? Put your hands up. Any adults here who have children went to parenting school? No. Where did we learn parenting? From our parents, right? On the job too. On the job. Very, very important. So, we learn parenting. Did we learn good things from our parents? Yes. Did we also learn bad things from our parents? What not to do with little lies and that. Okay, and what do you think takes over sometimes when you become an adult and you're not happy? Do you think the good things take over? Remember we just talked about balancing negative and positives? You need to have zero tolerance for negativity. So when a girlfriend comes to you and say, hey, what happened to Shiva? Say, thank you for sharing. What can we do to help her? What can I do? So why exactly are you telling me this? How many of you feel better when you help someone? It's a good feeling, isn't it wonderful? Okay, so I'll tell you the messages that we get. We are talking about self-talk here. I remember, I wish I knew something differently. I remember I was told, my figure not nice, you have little breasts, you're looking like this, you don't have a nice figure like your cousin or your sister or somebody. So I didn't wear a bikini. When I could have worn a bikini, I didn't wear a bikini because I just didn't think I had the nice hips and the whatever. You know, when you're younger, you're like this. We were like this. Not understanding what messages were being taught to me as a child. When I wanted to wear the bikini, guess what happened? I had children, I had stretch marks. I still wore it though. But I'm telling you, coming along in childhood, I did not have a good image of myself. And it doesn't matter how you look outside. You can look beautiful outside. But it's the message that you get that sticks with you inside. Are you with me? Inside. Do you ever notice somebody is not so good looking as in our terms in a Western society? I don't know what that is. But so good looking. But they're so beautiful a person that it just shines outside. And they look. Have you ever met somebody like that? Yes. And that's what's important for your mental health. How you feel about yourself. Let's talk about some of the messages that we get. How many of you, if you put up your hands, told that you have the wrong body and you're working, your body don't look good, you have small breasts, big breasts too. Put up your hand if you've been told anything about your body that's negative. Put your hands up. Okay. Thank you very much. You all are so honest. Yeah? So, and most of you have been told this by your peers or by adults. Put up your hand how many of you have gotten those messages from adults, from us. Thank you very much. And how many of you have gotten the messages from your friends or your peers? Okay. Thank you. So it's like equal amounts. Okay? Those messages are so incorrect. And what we call when old people used to say this, I never understood it. Misery likes company. What do you think they mean by that?
When other people have low self-esteem, they like to bring other people down with them.
Very good. Everybody heard that? When other people are unhappy, misery likes company. They transfer, what we call transfer or projecting in our field. They project how they feel about themselves. So when somebody comes to you with a negative, you turn to them and you say to them, that must be very painful for you. Or tell me why you're feeling like that. Even if they're telling you something because they're going through something, you are allowing yourself now to bypass that and not to listen to that message. Remember, lots of people come and tell you that what people say about you, their opinion of you is not your reality. That's what we mean by that. You should make it your reality. Very, very important. As we move along in self-image, the messages that we get of who we are. There's a song that I learned when I was doing workshops in diversity and differences. And if you promise not to laugh, I'll sing the first few lines for you. And it's very, very powerful. Because we didn't understand whether you have little breast, big bottom, little bottom. I was told I had my mother bottom, which was flat. And I always used to admire everybody with a nice bum. And I used to say something wrong with me. You know? Didn't realize that I am who I am and I'm beautiful just the way I am. So you promise not to laugh? Okay, you promise. It goes something like that. It goes like this. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Don't laugh, eh? Okay. Those words are very powerful. I didn't learn them till I was an adult in workshops helping people with differences and helping them to love themselves the way they are. Your biggest challenge would be when you have a relationship, a loving relationship, to be able to love. Watch our boys, eh? Our boys are really, they're funniest. Trinidadian men are the funniest, how do I say, teasers in the world. They have the funniest lines. They have the funniest pickup lines. We have some really lovely Caribbean men. They have some great pickup lines. And as we go along, your self-image, in our time, our self-image was connected to the relationship. Are you with me? Of having, do you think it's important to talk about relationships? When you're talking about body image and mental health, very important. Be careful, because you would hear things like, if you really love me, you will do A, B, and C. Anybody who really cares for you does not tell you something like that. Okay, it's called emotional blackmail. Do you know that people can emotionally blackmail? You say you love me and you're not doing this and you're not doing that for me and you're not doing that for me. Could that affect your body image or mental health? Yes, very, very important. How many of you think your breast is too small? Put your hands up quickly, quickly. Put it down. How many of you think your breast too big? Put it up. Why do you think if we had everybody with the same size breasts and butt and legs, how boring it will be? Do you think it will be boring? Everybody looking like on the magazine. Do you know why, I guess this is why SOROPTIMISTs around the world, do you know there are two operations that really make me want to cry half the times. In China, the girls want to be an inch taller. And they save up money. I don't know if any of you have seen this documentary, to put steel in their legs. It's a very painful operation. They have to cut the bone, put the steel. It's a very expensive operation to be 1 inch taller. We have made them in the Western world don't even like their nice shiny eyes. We have made them go on operations to increase the eyelid so that it wouldn't be different. Everybody wants to look the same. And we can't, because we all created different. You ever notice one leg? If you notice, most of the times one breast is a little bigger than the other. One side of your foot, if you put on a shoe, is a little smaller than the other. What do you think that is? Do you think that's imperfection? No, that's perfection. That's the only way you're allowed to use the word, in imperfection. So you understand? How many of you are surprised that in China they're doing that? Put your hands up if you're surprised. Are you surprised? Yeah. This is what we made them do. We make everybody feel, and we're not conscious of this. Sometimes forgive your parents because they were brought up thinking like that. They were brought up not being able to tell sometimes the truth or have a relationship, a truthful relationship. When we were younger, I didn't know my mother's age until she died. If you ask my parents and their age, they will say 101. You're too fast, mind your own business. Where do babies come from? A pigeon or a bird or somebody brings them. Don't kiss a boy, because if you kiss a boy, you'll get pregnant. Okay? In your body age. I have a cousin who didn't know any better. She just told me this about 10 years ago. So she's trying not to kiss the boy, and the boy is trying to kiss her. And 17, she got pregnant. She didn't kiss the boy. Okay? She didn't kiss the boy. She fought the boy to kiss. And she went to her mom and she says, how did this happen? I didn't kiss the boy. Very important to be educated about yourself and to let go some. This session really is about letting go some of the stories you heard about you. You know, and if anybody tell you your belly too big, or you say real women, I have a sister sitting in the audience here who told me that one year. Real women have stomachs. Okay? Real women have stomachs. You don't want to be flat like a board all the time, and you know, you want to have a little stomach. So any questions so far? Am I going too fast for you? Too quickly for you? Next thing is about, you know, I remember visiting some clients when I used to work in the district. And I'll go and say, how is the baby? The nurse will go with me. I'll go for the social issues. At that time, I was a medical social worker. Anybody knows what a medical social worker does? Okay. Talk about that at another time. But I was in the community, so I'll go on a home visit with a young baby. So I'll say, how is the baby? He not nice now, Mrs. Nobby. I say, what happened? He black! What? And my favorite child is the fair-skinned one and the one with the nice hair. Ladies, could you tell me what is nice hair? I'm 63 years old and I'm looking for nice hair. What is nice hair? Remember, we're talking about the messages we get. Huh? And when you tell a child that he's a nice darky or she's a nice darky, what you're giving them about their body image is that blackness is not supposed. I'm going to give you a shocker here today. Okay? If you are not white, you are black, ladies and gentlemen. For the world of white people, if you are not white, and if any of you live in any of the foreign lands, you're going to get that message loud and clear. And I can give you that message because there's no other white than blonde hair and blue eyes, and my father was blonde hair and blue eyes. But I am black. If you are not white, you are black. You see the variations that we come out with? And the nice darkie, she dark, you know, but she nice. She pretty. What is that? Oh, my favorite child is the fair one with the nice hair. Once you start to have favorites, you are going to affect the other siblings' body image of themselves, who they are. Agree? How many of people hear that is a nice darkie? Put up your hand. Right. Very, very important to stop that. If your parents keep doing it, you have nice hair, or this one nicer looking than that one, and stop comparing, because you are always going to be disappointed in yourself. Even the people who think they're perfect in body is disappointed in themselves in some way. Are you with me on that? Very, very important to let go. Am I missing out any of the other images that you self-talk that you got growing up? Huh? I'm asking them, yeah. Very important to let go of that baggage. If nothing else you remember here today is that you are important and you can make yourself alone happy and contented with who you are. Exactly who you are. Whether, as I said, whether you have small breasts, big breasts, little breasts, big bottom, fat legs, whatever, you are who you are. And you are capable of being the best of who you are. Very important to understand that. How many of you in the last week have made somebody feel very bad about themselves, their self-image? You don't need to put up your hands, you just need to think about it. Can it be corrected, do you think? Can you correct that? If you made somebody feel bad? Huh? Can you? Yes. You can. There's always time and space to do that while we are alive. So it's important to have that. Any questions on self-image and letting go? Is it easy to let go of that self-talk, you think? No, you're right. It's a process. That self-talk and what we were brought up with, and it affects our mental health. So the first part of you have to be really, how many of you look at the Western magazines and see, I'm saying we live in the Western world, what am I saying? How many of you look at magazines and wish you looked like that? Very good. Be as honest, please. Okay. So the magazines, what influences us on our body image? Because we are born, little kids not reading anything or looking at any shows. What influences us, you think, on our body image? What makes us feel differently about our body? Do you know? Go ahead.
Men? Well, not really men, like...
Men,
Yeah.
Say what you mean. Okay, male. Everybody agrees? The opposite sex can do it. Correct?
Competition and living up to expectations.
Okay, everybody heard that? Competition. I wanted somebody to do some writing for me. Competition and living up to expectations. Okay, what else can make you feel bad about your body? So the opposite sex, and sometimes the same sex, your pairs, can make you feel bad. How you're looking like that, do this, change this. How many people have been told to change something about themselves? Very, very unfair. All right. So it's very important to understand that the opposite sex and competition. All right. When somebody tells you that try this on for size and tell us how it works. When somebody tells you something bad, as I said, say thanks for sharing and either drop it at that time, or you say you must really feel badly about yourself. Because anybody who's happy about themselves, don't try to make other people unhappy about their body image. So what's the perfect figure? Could anybody tell me what the perfect figure should be? What's the measurements of the perfect figure for you guys? Tell me. Did you put your hand up? Go ahead. Tell me what's the perfect figure.
I personally believe that there's no such thing as the perfect figure. When God made you, He made you the way He thinks you should be, and that there's no such thing as a perfect figure.
So that's good. I'm happy that you think like that. But some, IQ, could you give a, okay, did you hear that? There's no perfect figure because God made you how you are. But still, I wish we could all live in that world where we think that way. Some of us get that message and we're able to carry it out all our lives, which is a good message. But some of us get a different message. Okay? That we don't have that figure that we aspire to all your life. And you're going to aspire to all your life. At one point I wanted bigger breasts. When I had my child and I had to breastfeed, my breast went all the way out there. I said, no, I don't want no bigger breasts. Not again. So you see, always, if you continue like that, you're always going to be dissatisfied. What's a perfect figure?
I think once you're healthy and happy with the body that you have, and you know, I think once you're healthy and you're happy with the body that you have, then you have a perfect.
That's a perfect figure. Okay. Thanks. And of course that other answer was also good. So everybody heard that? Once you're happy. So do I have a perfect figure? Yeah. Because I'm happy with what I have. It took me years. And that's why we want to speed up that lesson for you guys. No, I think it was my grandmother or my mother said, fools learn from their own mistake. Wise men learn from others. What do you think she meant by that? Huh? She gave us an example. She said, well, you would see a guy go into a pond at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and he comes out of that pond and he's totally black with all the mud and everything and dirt and leaves. Somehow in your brain, you think you're going in that same pond at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're not going to come out with any mud. And you're going to do the same thing. That's what she meant. Fools learn from their own mistakes. Wise men learn from others. So you see others doing something and somehow you think you're going to try it and you're not going to get the same results. I'm not talking about exams or aspiring for something. I'm not talking about that. So how many of us just heard two definitions of a perfect figure? And how many of us in this room think we have a perfect figure? Teachers and guests included. Put your hands up. And men included too. Put your hands up if you think you have a perfect figure. You see how difficult it is to think that you have a... What is some... And as we talked about some of the obstructions, some of the barriers to thinking, the messages, the negative, we are going to go on with those messages, the negative messages. We're going to do an exercise now. So everybody understood what we did for this period of time, how we are trying to let go of that negative baggage, because you see how you'll end up, just like how I said, you'll end up being a victim all the time. Nothing is right, nothing is good. You'll end up always being sad. And nobody's in charge of that but you. Even the messages that you get. Okay? Remember that verbal messages, when you tell somebody something nasty, they will remember it for life. They can't erase it on their brain like how they can erase it with a pencil or pen, an eraser. That when it's written, you could tear up what is written, correct? You could delete what is written. But do you think it's as easy to delete that message in your brain for your mental health? It's not. Okay? All right. So Any questions so far? Because we changed around the module because we started late. Anybody has a question, please feel free. Or an incident or a statement to make. Is it important when you're studying your body image to study your whole health? Your physical health, your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health? Everybody agrees that it's important to do that? Okay. So let's do some work here. Amisha, could you stand? And could you tell us which part of your body you like the best? Tell us the truth. Don't let anybody prompt you. Whichever part you like. All right, so which part do you spend more time on? Is it your hair? Yeah. Your hair. Okay. Everybody heard that?
My hair.
Everybody heard. How many of you spend more time on your hair than any other part? And that's the thing that we do. You can sit. Thanks. Sit, put hands up again. How many of you spend more? Yeah. Usually at your age, that's what a lot of young girls do. Do you think the boys do that? Yes. They do? That's it. All right, well, I guess in our time we didn't think that they do. Yeah, but they do that, right? They do spend a lot of time. Are they in competition with you? Spending the amount of time? Yes? Okay. Okay, it's very important. And it's very important now to laugh at yourself. How many of you laugh at yourself? You're not going crazy, actually. It's a vitamin for your mental health. What we call a vitamin. You're giving a shot of vitamins to your mental health and your well-being. Very, very important. All right, so we have another exercise. You sure you have no questions right now? Yes? No, you're sure you have none? Okay. All right. We would definitely like to go into a mindful exercise, right? We'll do something simple. And then Mrs. Mongrou is going to talk to you all about the different problems that we are having. Referral. I am definitely having a lot of referrals in the last 5 years to my practice on cutting. Okay? On cutting. Do you know what I mean by cutting? Okay. And do you know what that is, major, before Mrs. Mongrou comes on? Do you know what that is for us when we see girls cutting themselves? It happens more with girls than with boys, interesting enough, from my experience. I don't know, I haven't researched it. But from my experience seeing people in San Fernando, a lot of girls starting from Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. I get a lot of Form 2s and 3s start beginning to cut themselves. We call that a cry for help. What do you think I mean by that? What do you think I mean when I say a cry for help?
That they need somebody to guide them and help them.
Are you hearing her?
That they need somebody to guide them and help them.
Very good. Because sometimes people, you get the message in your family, don't talk about your business to anybody. If you're sad, pretend you're happy. How many of you have those messages in your home? Not actually be told to you, but received it. Put up your hand. Very important to understand. And before Mrs. Mongrou comes up here, I just wanted to do something. On comfortable touch and uncomfortable touch, because sometimes our body image is attached to that. Do you know what I mean by the yes touch and the no touch? Yeah? Okay. Can I have you? Can I have you? Come quickly because we haven't got... I'm not going to do anything bad with you. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me, everyone? I have to use the mic. Miss, tell me I have to use the mic. So Who, what's your name? Cheyenne. Whose body is this? Are you sure? Who does this body belong to? Cheyenne. Okay. What's your name? Kishma. Whose body is this? Does it belong to her? You sure it doesn't belong to her parents? Huh? It is what?
It's whose?
It is her parents? No, it's hers. Sorry, I'm getting older. Got you? All right, so it's her body. So we learned it's very, very important to play with what connected. Your mind ever tell you don't do something and you went against it and you got in trouble? Okay, so I want you to play with the intuition that comes from the air. So I say, Cheyenne, am I pronouncing it right? Cheyenne? Okay. I say to Cheyenne, hi Cheyenne, how are you? Fine. What kind of touch is that, Cheyenne?
Good touch? I guess.
A yes touch?
Yeah.
And when is a yes touch, what do we say? Yes, it's okay. Okay? The confused touch is what I want to tell you. So I say to Kishma, girl, how are you going? What kind of touch is that? Very serious. We don't have much time. I know we wanted to have a lot more fun with you guys, but we don't have much time this morning.
A no touch.
A no touch. And how do you know it's a no touch?
Because it was uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Everybody heard that? It was uncomfortable. So this is the touch. This is a touch I want us to be very, very particular in and go with your feelings. This is called the confused touch. So for years I've been seeing and confused touch happen with people you know and you trust. It does not happen with a stranger in a track or in a road. Okay? It's people you know and you trust. Everybody's with me? So I say, Cheyenne, how are you going? So yes, I'm hugging and giving Cheyenne a comfortable touch. And all of a sudden, it starts with I'm kissing, and I end up on her lips. Or I'm touching her, I'm hugging her, and I end up touching her breast. What kind of touch? You see what's a no touch. But how do we know if we're accepting the yes touches? Are you with me, girls? Very, very important. All the years we accepted, does this affect your body image? You think this kind of touch, an uncomfortable touch, can affect your body image and how you feel about yourself? Very important to understand the confused touch. Why is it confusing?
You don't really know how to feel about it.
Right, very important because you love the person and you trust the person, correct? Everybody heard that? You don't know how to feel. You don't know whether to trust your feelings inside or whether you made a mistake and maybe you twist your face too fast and maybe the person did a wrong kiss or maybe they were in a hurry. So you're confused because this person always gave you yes touches, correct? Very important. When you get an uncomfortable touch, what can you do about it? Say something.
Yeah.
And what happens if you say something and the adult doesn't believe you? Can that happen? Yes. Because sometimes the person is related to the adult. This affects a lot of and sometimes even in cutting, this happens. It's a cry for help. Something is going on that's uncomfortable or that's very negative. And the child, not all the times, please don't go back to school and say everybody who cut in themselves having uncomfortable touch. That's not what I'm saying. Are you with me? So this is uncomfortable touch. Follow what you're saying. And if that person doesn't believe you, tell someone else. Very important. Thank you, girls. Thank you very much. Let me give you a comfortable touch because of it. Very important to understand. Any questions on that? Can that affect your body image, how you feel about yourself, ladies? Yes, it can. Very important to understand that. Okay. Istra, let's go on to...
Okay, so now we're just going to take a little break from all the information at you, and then I'm going to continue on with a little more formal presentation on some of the medical aspects of body image issues, okay? Sorry. All right, so I'd like everybody to please as easily as possible. Put down your papers and stuff on your chair and stand up. Everybody stand. Move out a little bit because we're just going to do a little physical thing here. So everybody, if you can just stretch up to the ceiling. We're just loosening up a little bit. Stretch up. And then out, maybe in front of you without bashing the other person. Up again. Out again. Now, can you just shake loosely like this? Just shake around. Loosen up your shoulders, your arms, then the waist a little bit. Just shake, 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 shake. Come on, I'm not seeing much energy here. Are we that tired this morning? Let's shake a little bit. Come on. Loosen up, loosen up. You know when you're playing the hokey pokey when you're a little kid, you do the hokey pokey and you shake your legs and you shake your arms. Let's do all of that. All right? Now, okay, stop. And let's take a deep breath in. Deep breath. And out. Another deep breath in. Another one out. And a third one, deep breath. And out. Okay, now I'd like you to just sit quietly. Just sit because the exercise is not done yet. Just another couple seconds. Sit. Okay, and as you sit, just sit comfortably. Okay? And if you're comfortable doing this, just close your eyes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and just for a moment, pay attention to your breath. You're breathing. You're taking a little break from all the intellectual stuff. So just let any thoughts that in your head, just let the thoughts float away gently. Just put them on a cloud and let them swish around. And just focus on your breath. The air coming in your nostrils and out of your nostrils. Just breathe and sit. Be aware of your feet on the floor, your butt on the chair, your back against the back of the chair. And just sit comfortably and be present in the moment. Just be present right here, right now. Focused on your being. You're sitting here in this auditorium, feeling your breath, feeling yourself grounded, and just being with no judgment, no criticism, just noticing. And just breathe gently for a couple seconds more. Okay, and when you're ready, you can just open your eyes, come back to the light in the room, and come back to the session. Okay? How did it feel for people to do that little exercise? Was it okay? Did anybody have trouble with that? Everybody all right with doing that exercise? Yeah? How did it feel for you? Sorry? Relaxing? Okay, good. All right. So,
couldn't quiet their minds. Because I know when I was old age, I couldn't quiet my mind. Anybody had difficulty quieting their mind and concentrating? Put up your hands. All right. That is normal.
That's normal. Yeah, and that's normal, and that's okay. It's just a little practice just to give us a little break and a little mental break that we all need to do from time to time, okay? Because when we keep going, the stress builds up. All right. So we're going to go on now from there, and just to pull together, Mrs. Nobby gave you a lot of information and got a lot of thinking going there this morning, as our theme is Think on It, right? So I wanted to ask, as she was saying, a lot of people get different messages when they're growing up, and those messages are laid down in our brain. It writes a script, excuse me, and it's that script that determines how we behave and who we are. So often for some people, it's, you're too this, you're too that, you're too big, you're too small. I've had clients with parents who have said, no, I have some here, Wendy, guys, I have this here. I've had clients who say to me things like, just open that for me, who say things to me like, my mother always tells me that why you have so much weight? Look at you. Look at how slim I am. Why can't you be like me? And of course, it's not that child's fault that she is the way she is. Why is she the way she is? Because that's how she was born. That's her genes. That's her genetic makeup that determines who she's going to be, right? So messages laid down in our head lead us to believe certain things about ourselves. What we need to remember is that those messages are only messages. They don't have to determine who we are. We can change those messages and we can move beyond them, right? And too many people, you may know people like this, or you may yourself have issues with this, believe things, if only this, if only that. So just think for a minute, maybe even jot down, if I look different, I would be whatever. What do you think that I would be is? If I look different, if my whatever butt wasn't so big, or my hair wasn't so straight or curly or thin or thick, or my nose was different, I would be. Let me just hear a couple of responses. What do you think the I would be is? Anybody want to give me an answer? I would be what? Yeah? Yes? Go ahead.
I would be unique.
If you were different, if you had the changes made, you're saying you'd be unique, right? Okay, anybody else? Yeah?
If I looked different and I changed anything, I would not be myself.
Okay. She's...
If I looked different or I changed anything, I would not feel like myself.
Okay, so she said she would not feel like herself. All right. So people have many different reasons as to why they would want to change things. But as we were saying earlier, obviously, ultimately what we would like to strive to be is exactly who we are, a unique individual, right? How many people are aware of people who have serious issues with their body image? Now, when I say serious, any body image issue is serious, okay? But I'm talking about issues that need medical treatment. Are you aware of people like that? People who may be restricting their eating. People who may be eating and throwing up. People who may be just starving, period. Yeah, some people there, okay. And people who seem to have an obsession with their looks and how they look. Anybody aware of anybody like that? Yeah? Okay, good. All right, so everybody has heard the term anorexia, right? Yeah. So anorexia is a very serious eating disorder where people restrict their eating to the extremes, to where they lose weight, their body functions change, their heart weakens, and it can lead to death. Okay, there's some famous people I know that have died from that. And then there's anorexia bulimia, where you eat, and then you throw up. And to get the food out, and then you go through the same thing. And then the binge eating. Some people would eat, like through a whole weekend, 10 pizzas and whatever, 5 cheesecakes and all that. And then they throw up, and then they starve themselves for another week. So this can take different forms. And why I'm putting this out there is for you to be aware that these are medical and mental health issues that need medical treatment. So often we say to people, well, girl, stop doing that now. Why are you eating so much? Or what's wrong with you? Why are you making yourself throw up? Come behave yourself now. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's just like with an addiction, alcoholic, drug users, etc. We say to them, stop it, stop the drinking, stop the smoking. It's not that easy to just stop, because it has to do with things in the brain, neurological things that I don't know all the technical terms for, but it does require medical intervention most of the time, all right? Most of the time. What people like this need, though, is support from friends and people around them, and people who will understand that they're going through something that needs help, even if you don't understand exactly what it is. You know, like if somebody is starving themselves, if they're anorexic, it's really hard to comprehend that when you know you need to eat your meals 3 times a day. But even though we may not fully understand, it's important to be there for that person and support them in getting help, right? Okay, so I just wanted to give you a little bit on dysmorphia, body dysmorphia. Can we just put that up quickly? The body dysmorphia was on the desktop. Okay, yeah, right. So there is also an disorder called body dysmorphic disorder. And this is when people believe that a part of their body is ugly or mismatched, right? And they become obsessed with that. So people spend hours focusing on what they think is wrong with their looks. Many times a day they do things to check and fix and try to change. So I'm thinking of a client I had many years ago in a different country than this, where he was totally obsessed with his nose. And he would come in and say, you know, my nose, I need to change it. You know, and he was in my session, so this is a psychotherapy session. He's sitting there, we're sitting for an hour. And for most of that hour, he has barely looked at me because he has his phone now. You know, on the phone you can do a selfie, right? So he has it on the selfie, and he's looking at himself like this. He's talking to me, but he's looking, and he's doing with his hair and his nose for the entire hour. And then he will leave, he will go out in the waiting room, be doing the same thing. So it is so much of an obsession that the person is not able to do other things. They're obsessed with their hair, their nose, their face, and you know there's some TV shows now, I just remember that, where they actually show you people doing all this plastic surgery and showing you how people in some of the Asian countries Mrs. Nobby was mentioning are going to extremes to change features and things like that. Okay, so let's just go on to the next slide. Yeah. So some symptoms of this disorder is that people focus to the extreme on their looks. They're upset about their appearance. They try to fix it all the time. So these people will often try not to be seen by others, and they will isolate from others, right? And they have a false image, obviously, of their looks, because you look at them and they look fine. You know, everything looks very proportionate, but they feel that it needs to change. Causes of BDD. So we have to realize that the exact causes are not yet known. Research is still being done. But these things play a role. So genes, the genetic factor, and they said there is some evidence that it does run in families. Serotonin, which is a hormone in the body, seems to have an effect on this happening. And so some of the medical treatment has to do with serotonin. And then brain differences. They have done some brain imaging, you know, where they take those pictures and different parts of the brain light up. And they've shown that people with this issue, body dysmorphic disorder, different parts of the brain light up. So there are some brain differences, but they're still working on what to do with that information, right? What's important to remember is that BDD is not caused by anything that the person did or that their parent did. So it's nobody's fault, and we have to remember that. It is a mental health condition that needs treatment. Next one. Possible treatment, cognitive behavioral therapy. So that's a kind of talk therapy where you go, you talk to a therapist who is trained in some specific techniques that have to do with cognition, so your thinking patterns, and helping you to change and modify your thinking so that you come up with a different self-image, a different way of seeing yourself. And then, of course, there's medicine. So there's actual medical help using hormones that will do things with the levels of serotonin in your body to help to deal with the issue as well. Okay? What is it like for somebody with body dysmorphic disorder? So it's important to understand that too when we're trying to support them, right? Because these people spend so much time worrying and obsessing about their parents that they miss out on a whole lot of life. They don't go to activities, they don't make friends, they stay away from very important functions. They even do things like missing school and missing work. Last one, please. So what if I think I have body dysmorphic disorder, if you know anybody else? Talk to a parent, a guidance counselor, a doctor, a teacher, or anybody else that you trust. Ask them to help you to find medical treatment and or a CBT therapist. Keep all your appointments for therapy. Remember that it takes time for change to take place. People go to a therapist once and they say, I went, and it didn't work. It didn't help me. Well, no. You need to go for a length of time or else it's not going to work, right? Be open and honest with your therapist and let them know if you're depressed or sad. Again, people go in and pretend, yes, man, I'm doing good. Well, then why are you at the therapist? You need to tell them how depressed you are. Allow others to give you support, even if you think they don't understand what you're going through. And be patient with yourself. Remember, it takes time. So don't give up. It is a condition that's very difficult to deal with, and people feel, very, very badly about themselves when they do have it. But it is a medical condition, and there is treatment available. Okay? Yeah, and it's not, important to emphasize, it is not their fault, it's not even their parents' fault, it's nobody's fault. It has to do with wiring in the brain, right, and the way things are hooked up there. Yeah. Any questions, anything else about that you need to ask? No? Yeah? Want to make a comment? Yeah, no. No. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so just want to mention one more thing. So often when people have issues either with body dysmorphic disorder or body image issues about being whatever, too fat, too thin, too tall, too short, whatever, often linked to that would be issues of depression and anxiety. And often people can develop social anxiety. So it's important to be aware of that and know that help is available. If you do have issues with anxiety, social anxiety, depression, or any other mental health issues. And that you don't have to stay locked away in your little world and think, well, something wrong with me, and if only I could look different, everything would be fine, right? Because if you deal with the other issues, then the body image issue may no longer be a big deal, and you'll be able to deal with it and move on from there.
How do I know at 13 and 14 and 15 that I'm depressed?
Mm-hmm. Right. So symptoms of depression, people may find that they're feeling sad more often than usual. They may find they're isolating from others. They may feel that they have difficulty getting out of bed in the morning. They just don't feel like getting up, There's nothing to look forward to in their day. Right, they cry very quickly, very often. Their emotions are right up here. So crying, sadness, not getting out of bed, no joy in life, feeling as though there's nothing really worth living for kind of thing. Those are some of the symptoms of depression. Anxiety is when you're always anxious about, you worry, you're afraid of this. You don't want to do this because there's fear, there's worry, and there's overthinking. Whenever we're overthinking something, those are all symptoms of anxiety. Mm-hmm. Okay?
And also, we thought about when you enter your brain and you overanalyze things. How many of you overanalyze what happened and you go on and on and on like your accountants or engineers? Okay, stop it. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. Do not enter your brain cells alone. Do you know what I mean by that? That's when you overanalyze and you self-judge and you go on and on because you have... We were very busy in our time because we had enough children to play. We made our own toys. Do you know that? We made our top. We got for Christmas 1 toy if you're lucky. 2 toys if you have somebody living away and they send something for you. Now I know how many toys you all have under your Christmas tree when you all were younger, like 20 and 15 and 10, right? Am I correct? So we were occupied in being creative and create something. What makes you also unhappy, another thing with your body image, is that you're not living your dream. You're not doing what you like. You're doing what somebody else likes. That could create a really poor self-image. Am I missing out on anything? While we looking to wrap up because we were very late in starting, we looked at some of the sheets. First of all, we wanted you to keep the sheets, but we looked at two sets of sheets on your self-test from 2 schools. And what we found that I want to draw to your attention is a lot of us still feel 27% of those answers were, all in all, I tend to feel that I'm a failure. Okay, and that's what we talk about mental health. If you find yourself feeling that you are always a failure at everything, then you need to talk to someone. That you failed before you even try. You know, everything is a failure. And you really give yourself a lot of poor mental well-being. Okay, and that's what I wanted to point it out for us. And we had a big percent also we had 29% where they disagree that they take a positive attitude towards themselves. And that's why we're here today to really begin the process of educating you and begin the process of it's okay to be mentally well. It's okay. Actually, you'll get more of a prize for doing that than to be sad all the time. And we talked about all the barriers to mental health and your body image. So, any questions before we begin wrapping up and thanking you? Anything that we have? So remember some of these is, how do you help a friend if you see them cutting themselves? How do you help a friend? Huh? Just stand up, we can hear your voices. Stand up and tell us. Remember when your parents tell you you're talking too loud? We can hear. Go ahead. How could you help a friend?
I could help a friend by telling them that slitting the wrist doesn't help solve the problems, because when you're feeling sad and you slit your wrist, it doesn't make you feel better about yourself. It is just put marks on your skin.
Okay, so you tell me that and I say, yeah, girl, you're right. Put in marks, but I can't help it. You know, because I really don't like myself. I want to just exit this life. You hear what she told me yesterday and you hear what he told me? I want to exit this life. How could you help them further? That's important on what you said, and it helps us. How could you help them further? Go ahead, stand up, please, darling. Stand up.
Sometimes just being there for them and supporting them would be enough.
And listening. Remember when somebody come in to tell you a story, you hear what happened to me last night with my parents, blah, 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 and you can't wait to tell your story. You're not even listening. Yeah, girl, that happened to me last week. Blah, 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 and you're going on, and then she just shuts up and doesn't say anymore because you're hearing. It's very difficult to listen. So sometimes just listening and support. What can we do? I'll go with you, you know. Okay? Any questions? Sorry. Any more?
Yeah, just wanted to add a comment there about the cutting. People with body image issues do sometimes cut, yes, but cutting can also be a symptom of other deeper psychiatric issues. So it's important to support these people in getting some medical help too, because cutting has to do with people with borderline personality disorders and other complicated diagnostic things that I wouldn't say here, but just remember that, you know, we need to talk to a professional. So get some professional help, advice. If you are the friend and you find the person doesn't want to go for help, you may need to speak to your teacher, guidance counselor, somebody who could direct you as to how you can assist this person in getting help, right? Or you can direct the person to go to their medical practitioner or counselor or whoever to get some help. But cutting can be a symptom of many different types of issues, okay? And it is not, again, like with other things, it's not so easy as to tell people just to stop. It would be nice if it was that easy. I would love it if it were, but it's not. And we need to, we need to support them with that.
So true. Okay, so just, you have some forms, but before you fill that out, I want to say, if you have one word, each line, to say about this session today, what would it be for you? Just anybody. Just get up and say one word. Anybody in each row. Stand up. Very quickly.
Educational.
Educational.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Informative.
Informative.
It was inspiring. Inspiring.
Inspiring.
Helpful.
Helpful.
Inspirational.
Inspirational.
Is a source of information that you could use to help others.
Alright, helping you to be supportive.
Educational.
Educational.
Thought-provoking.
Thought-provoking.
Informative.
Informative.
Educational.
Educational. I can't think of a word right now. This line is okay.
Helpful. Helpful.
Helpful. Thank you very much. This line. Okay, thank you very much. So that is real positive feedback. I'm so sorry we started late because it didn't allow us to talk. Yeah. Okay, so before you fill out, while you're filling out your form, I want to share this piece with you. It's, do we have it on the screen? Yeah. Be yourself, but be your best self. Dare to be different and to follow your own star. Don't be afraid to be happy. Enjoy what is beautiful. Love with all your heart and soul. And believe that those you love you. Forget what you have done for your friends and remember what they have done for you. Disregard what the world owes you and concentrate on what you owe the world. When you are faced with a decision, make that decision as wisely as possible. Then forget it. Because the moment of absolute certainty never arrives. Above all, remember that God helps those who help themselves. So act as if everything depended upon you and pray as if everything depended upon God. On behalf of Lystra and I, we thank you very much for being here and sharing this knowledge and hearing part of what you shared knowledge to us. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.
Yeah, no names necessary. Right. So we would have filled out the first set of forms. Did we collect those already? Yeah? The initial questionnaire. Those were collected? Right? We have it first. Right. The second questionnaire that you have now would be the assessment, which we're doing. And we need to hand out there are two handouts. Did everyone get two handouts? No? Okay, so there is this one, which we're going to hand out now. You can go ahead. And I think some of you got this one. Did everyone get this one? No. All right, so we're giving out both sets of handouts now. You could take at the end and let them run down. Yeah.
They have this too?
Yeah, they have it.
You will take forever doing that list.
We have to, as they fill out, yeah. So while the forms are being filled out, make sure everyone gets two handouts. What we could do is give a batch at the end and you all could pass down. Now these handouts have some of the information plus some more information on the topics that we would have discussed today. And from what you guys said, everybody learned something. Everybody has a thought that they're going to carry through when they go back to school. So we're back to our competition. So the competition would be amongst the schools. There is going to be a prize for the winning submission. You could go back to your school and present on one topic that was done here, or you could present on the entire presentation, and then you need to send it back to us, either by video or write up on pictures, anything that will capture our attention. We will be posting what you send in on our Facebook page. Is anybody on Facebook? Are you all on Facebook? Let me see. Anybody is on Facebook? You all are very interesting here. So if you're on Facebook, what about Instagram? Oh, right. You all are young people. Yes, yeah. All right. So those on Facebook could follow SOROPTIMIST International of San Fernando. And our Instagram is going to be up soon. Right now, you could follow SOROPTIMIST International and Naparima. You all could take this note so you could look for them. And then you will be seeing SOROPTIMIST International San Fernando. The hashtags that you all will be using, do you all remember? Hashtag think on it and hashtag be body positive. So everybody's going to be posting on their Instagram today. Hashtag think on it, hashtag be body positive. And something to spread the word of positive body image in your school, in your areas where you live. Are we almost done with the questionnaires? Now we want a volunteer from each school, so you all will decide who is your team lead, and I'll want to get contact information for your team lead, and then I'll also have contact information for your teacher, so that you will be the person that will be in contact with me to tell me where you all have reached in your project. Maybe we could actually do a group chat with all the team leads. You all know how to do group chat, so one of you all will figure it out and put it on my phone. We'd like the teachers to give us contact information and email. They did. We have it already outside? Okay, great. So we will use the listing that we had at the registration for the teachers, but I'd like the volunteer from each school. Have you all already started thinking of what kind of project you all would like to do when you go back to school? Anybody has any ideas as yet? Mm-hmm. College, do you have your representative? Who is going to be a team lead? Come on, who is the team lead? Oh, we have 2 team leads. Why not? Come on. Okay. I have to get name and contact. You give it to Sandra. Yeah. We could probably have 2 per school. That might be good. 1 Form 3 and 1 Form 2. That's how we're doing it. Is it these 2? Yeah. Now, Prima girls. You're 2. San Fernando East. Pleasantville Secondary. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. I'll call them. Marabella South, St. Joseph's Convent, San Fernando West, Marabella North, La Romaine Secondary. Did everyone get both of the handouts? Did anybody not get 2 handouts? Yeah. Right. Okay. The girls that gave out the handouts will also be picking up the questionnaire that you're filling out. So that's Camille in the black and white and Rosemary in the burgundy. It's going to be very interesting.
Now remember, the team lead is just the person that I'm going to be contacting, but everybody in the group is going to play a big role, because remember, if we have a prize, it's going to be for everybody. Right. Okay, so that they'll know which areas to come to. Yeah, what you all could do is like send all down to one end. Because I think people are hungry, so we want to, you know. I think you all have granola bars. You collecting? Yeah. The question is, there's two questions. So you would have handed in both your questionnaires, and you will be taking the two handouts. Did you all learn stuff at today's workshop? You learned something? You got any information that you hadn't had before? Yeah? If you still need your stuff collected, raise your hand again. Let's see which areas weren't serviced. Oh, it's on the screen. The deadline date is June 6th. If anybody has their phone, you can take a picture of the screen, and your teachers have this document. All right, these girls are just passing out one more snack that we have. And we have some closing remarks. We'll have drinks for you all to collect when you're leaving. So as you go out, you'll get a drink. To just do some closing remarks, and then I'll just close off with you guys.
Okay, so we just about the end, so just bear with me for 2 more minutes. So I just want to say to the Madam Chairperson, the President of SOROPTIMIST International of San Fernando, that's Miss Bibi Ajoda, to our guest speakers and facilitators of today's mental health programs, to the teachers and students, and my fellow SOROPTIMISts. It's my privilege on behalf of SOROPTIMIST International of San Fernando, that's our group, to thank everyone involved in making today's session on mental health such a resounding success. Do you all think it's been a success? Yeah, great. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. So I'd like to thank the mayor, who isn't present right now, and his staff for giving us this venue today, and his recognition on the importance of mental health, especially as it relates to you young people of San Fernando, has led to credence to this workshop. To the principals and teachers, to the teachers who are here, thank you so much for willingly agreeing to allow all of you students to participate in today's workshops. To our dynamic facilitators, Ms. Nobby and Ms. Mangru, your knowledge, your experience, your passion for mental health and body image has not only increased our knowledge, but has given us a greater appreciation of what is positive mental health and positive body image. So I'm sure it's going to help us. It has removed some of the stigmas associated with mental health and body issues, and has given us some practical tips that we can apply to our daily lives. So we thank you both. Let's give them a round of applause. To you students, We hope that you all have gained some insight into mental health today, and as well positive body image. It's our wish that the knowledge that you have gained today will be shared with your peers and others, and I guess that's why we're doing the competition. We are very appreciative of all of you for your enthusiasm and your participation today, and you are what made today's session such a resounding success. We'd also like to thank our photographer and everyone else who has helped put this event together. So as everyone returns to school and work, just a little reminder. You're listening? Just a reminder. Mental illness is an illness, just like diabetes or heart disease. So if you or anyone you know about have any of these problems, just remember that these things need treatments, and I would encourage you all to seek help that you need. And an illness does not define you. Your strength and courage does. So go out there and be courageous young women. Thank you.
We are passing around cookies and drinks. I would just want a picture with all the team leads who volunteered up here, and I am calling all SOROPTIMIST sisters to just line up here. 1 second, please. The team leads right in front of our poster, and SOROPTIMIST sisters, please. Photographer and SOROPTIMIST, please. The team leads from schools, so we have a nice picture right in front of the standee there.